Welcome to Think on This, a space for quiet reflection, inspired by the insights of Jiddu Krishnamurti. We share new talks every fortnight, not to give answers, but to see more clearly. Let's begin. What you are, the world is. Jiddu Krishnamurti's insight on society and inner transformation. We live in a world that feels like it's always on fire. Wars, corruption, inequality, endless divisions. Everywhere you look, it feels like society is collapsing under its own weight. And naturally, we point the finger outward. We say it's the fault of the politicians, the corporations, the system. But what if the problem isn't just out there? What if society is nothing more than a mirror, but simply the reflection of what you and I are within? This is where Krishnamurti begins. He asks a very direct, almost uncomfortable question. Is the individual merely the instrument of society or the end of society? What you are, the world is. So your problem is the world's problem. Now, at first, that might sound abstract, like philosophical hair-splitting, but it isn't. It's about whether your life belongs to society or whether society exists to serve your life. It's about whether you're a puppet strung along by influences or a free human being capable of living with clarity, love, and creativity. Think of it this way. Imagine a river. If the water flowing into it is muddy, the river itself becomes muddy. If the water is clear, the river shines. Society is that river. And the water that fills it comes from each of us. Our thoughts, our fears, our desires, our actions. If you and I are envious, greedy, competitive, then society will reflect exactly that. If we are confused, inwardly divided, always seeking authority to guide us, then society becomes a mirror of that confusion. But here's the challenge. Most of us are conditioned to think the other way around, that society shapes us, not that we shape society. We blame the system, the government, the corporations, the media. And of course, they do exert immense influence. But we rarely see that these institutions are simply the external expression of our own minds. The politician's hunger for power is no different from the clerk who wants to become the manager. The corporation's greed is no different from our personal envy of the neighbor's success. The war between nations is no different from the conflict between husband and wife, or friend and friend. The outer is the projection of the inner. Krishnaji put it bluntly, what you are within has been projected outwardly, onto the world. What you are, the world is. This is not meant to blame us, but to awaken us. Because if society is simply the reflection of what we are, then changing society begins not in parliaments or revolutions, but right here, in the way you and I live, in the quality of our daily relationships. Now, someone might object, but isn't that too simplistic? aren't there structures of oppression, systems of exploitation that go far beyond individual psychology? Of course there are. But ask yourself, who created those systems? Who maintains them? Who participates in them every single day? Systems don't exist in the sky. They are sustained by human beings, by us. If envy, greed, fear, and the search for authority dominate the individual, then inevitably, those qualities build and maintain oppressive systems. Without the raw material of our inner condition, the outer machinery has no life. This is why Krishnamurti insisted that no outward revolution, whether political, economic, or religious, will ever last without an inner revolution. You can overthrow governments, replace leaders, create new laws, but if the inner condition of the individual remains the same, the new society will soon decay into the same old pattern. Outward reforms are like rearranging furniture in a crumbling house. The structure itself, the psychological structure of envy, fear, imitation, remains untouched. So he asked, can there be a radical transformation in society without a radical transformation within each one of us? And he answered clearly, no. Revolution in society must begin with the inner psychological transformation of the individual. Now let's dig into this a little deeper. What prevents this inner revolution? Why do we remain stuck in patterns that create the very misery we want to escape? One of the key reasons is imitation. From childhood, we are trained to fit into patterns, religious patterns, social patterns, political patterns. We imitate our parents, our teachers, our heroes, our gurus, our politicians. Of course, in technical matters, imitation has a place. You imitate when you learn a language, when you study mathematics, when you train in a profession. But inwardly, psychologically, when we imitate, we cease to be creative. We become second-hand human beings, repeating conditioned responses, fitting into molds, obeying authority. And here's the painful truth. Our whole so-called education, our whole religious and cultural life is built on imitation. We are rewarded for conforming, for believing, for obeying. We are told what God is, what success is, what morality is, and we accept it without direct discovery. So inwardly, we are no longer alive, fresh, creative. We have become, in Krishnaji's words, mere repetitive machines. Think of a garden. If every tree in that garden were forced to grow into the exact same shape, with the same number of branches and leaves, would it be alive? Would it be beautiful? No. Life flourishes through diversity, through spontaneity, through uniqueness. But inwardly, we resist that. We feel safer in the prison of conformity. Yet it is precisely this inward conformity, this obedience to authority, that leads to the decay of society. Because when the individual is no longer creative, society inevitably becomes stagnant, repetitive, and must collapse. This collapse is not some far-off theory. We see it happening right now. Corruption, inequality, endless wars, ecological destruction, the crumbling of trust between people. This is society disintegrating before our eyes. And Krishnaji's challenge is merciless. You and I are responsible. Not the politicians, not the corporations, not them, but you and I. Because you and I are not creative. We have reduced society to this chaos. That may sound harsh. Some of you may feel, but isn't that too much to put on the individual? How can I just one person be responsible for the collapse of society? It's a fair question, but notice, he is not saying you alone are responsible for the whole world's problems. He is saying that your contribution, your daily thoughts, your relationships, your way of living, forms part of the total. And since each part affects the whole, your transformation matters. You are both the victim and the architect of society. To deny this is to stay powerless. To accept it is the beginning of freedom. So then, what does this inner revolution look like? It begins with a kind of seeing that is free from all propaganda, from all ideology, from all second-hand authority. To see the truth of this matter, you cannot rely on books, on leaders, on systems, whether sacred or secular. Krishnaji said, if you depend on books of the left or of the right or on sacred books, then you depend on mere opinion. They are ideas, not truth. A fact can never be denied. Opinion about fact can be denied. Do you see the distinction? An idea can always be debated, argued, accepted, or rejected. But a fact is undeniable. If you are afraid, that is a fact. If you are comparing yourself with another, that is a fact. To see these facts in yourself without distortion, without condemnation, without escape, that is the beginning of inner revolution. And this seeing must be constant, alive, fresh, because life itself is never static. Every moment is new. Every crisis is new. To meet it, your mind must be clear, supple, not bound by past opinions or future hopes. This requires a deep inward vigilance, a freshness of perception. Now, perhaps some of you are wondering, but isn't this just individualism? Isn't this saying, forget society, focus on yourself? Not at all. Krishnamurti is not promoting selfish isolation. He is saying the exact opposite. The individual and society are not two separate entities. They are one movement. Society is nothing but our network of relationships between you and me, between all human beings. So, when you transform inwardly, you are directly transforming the quality of those relationships, and therefore, the fabric of society itself. This is why he insisted, start near. Don't dream of transforming the world while ignoring how you speak to your spouse, how you treat your colleagues, how you pursue your career. If your daily life is based on envy, on competition, on domination, then no amount of social activism will bring peace. Because you are carrying into the outer world the same seeds of conflict. And here we come to something beautiful. Love. We speak so much about love. Yet if we are honest, most of our relationships are not based on love at all. They are based on respect, domination, jealousy, dependence. If there were true love between us, there would be no need for respect, no need for domination. Two individuals meeting as equals, with affection and care, would not create chaos. But because our relationships are tainted with ill will, with fear, with the desire to control, we create conflict. And from that conflict arises the misery of society. So what does it mean then to be truly creative? It means to live without inward imitation, without the worship of authority, without the prison of belief. It means to meet life freshly, directly, without leaning on formulas. In those moments of genuine creativity, whether in art, in thought, in relationship, you are alive, you are free, you are not bound by repetition. Such moments are rare, but they show us what is possible. Krishnaji called this negative thinking, not in the sense of being pessimistic, but in the sense of approaching life without preconceived conclusions, without positive systems or formulas. To look negatively is to look openly, without the filter of what should be. Only then can the new emerge. So here we are. Society is crumbling. We don't need historians to tell us. We see it in the corruption of politics, in the fragmentation of communities, in the loneliness of modern life. And the only true architects of a new society are you and I, ordinary human beings who are willing to see, to transform, to live without imitation. There are no leaders who can do it for us. To follow a leader is to remain in the old pattern. What you are, the world is. So your problem is the world's problem. This is not a slogan. It is a fact. And once you see it, really see it, there is no question of agreement or disagreement. The only question is, are you willing to look within, without escape, without illusion, without authority, and begin that inward revolution which alone can bring about a living, creative society? That is the challenge. It is urgent. It is uncompromising. And it begins now, with you, with me, with the way we live this very moment. Thank you for listening. If today's message resonated with you, we invite you to subscribe to our channel so we can continue to inspire, serve, and add value to your life. Your support helps us spread Jiddu Krishnamurti's work and wisdom further into the world. Until we meet again, take care, and we'll see you in the next video.